Kitchen talk, conversations that cook. Kitchen talk.
Kitchen talk.
Conversations that could.
You were supposed to let us say CTC, man.
Oh, I want to do faster.
No, okay.
It's season 3. We got to be on point.
Oh, so she was slow.
She was slow.
She was slow.
We got to catch up.
That's what we doing today?
That's already. We got bands too.
Kitchen talk, CTC. Yeah, Sean out in front of the camera.
she just company.
Oh.
Oh.
Well, company, family, yep. So, Jamie, you in it now.
You in the family. You in the family.
So, welcome, Jamie.
Thank
So
you.
nice to have you.
I appreciate being
One of
here.
Tallahassee's finest attorneys.
Yes.
I love it. I love it. That black girl magic and everything. Yes.
Magic is real.
So now y'all can't gang up on me because I got help.
No, you cannot get up on
I
we still
gotta
gonna
go.
do it.
I mean, it's bound to happen.
it.
You just gonna get caught in the
I gotta
crossfire.
Right.
Y'all so crazy. So I called Jamie up and we were talking about what we wanted to talk about today. So we're gonna get real deep, and you are very passionate about this, and you can be very passionate about this. So we're gonna talk about voting.
Oh yes.
I just think it's important for us to keep it on the forefront of people's minds.
Right.
So while we're entertaining and doing all of that and everything else, let's still talk about some real issues.
Right.
So when we come back, we're gonna dig really, really deep into that. How about that?
That's awesome.
Everybody get it?
I got my voter's card. I'm ready.
All right.
You are cordially invited to be a part of History in the Making. The Old West Florida Primitive Baptist Association will celebrate its 150th annual session on October 14th through the 20th. Evening worship will be held nightly Monday through Friday at 6:30 p.m. and daily services and activities Wednesday through Saturday. Taking place at the Old West Florida Enrichment Center located at 2344 Lake Bradford Road, Tallahassee. A sesquicentennial gala will take place on Saturday, October 12th at 6 o'clock p.m. at the Donald L. Tucker Civic Center. All are welcome.
Kitchen talk, conversations that cook.
So we're back in the kitchen for Kitchen Talk. This is season 3. We're so excited. I want us to talk. We've done a couple of shows about voting.
We have.
So we did
It's
one.
important.
It is so
It's
important. It's so very important. Now I will admit, as I have previously, that I'm not the most enthusiastic about it. I'll put it that way.
Okay.
Okay.
But why?
That's a good question. Why?
That is a very good question. And I guess because I think it's a lot of, I don't want to use a bad word.
Use it.
I just can't.
We're only on TV. What else gonna see?
But I just think it's like, to me, our politicians don't really serve us. I think it's more selfish and just about their agendas, and it's not really about us. So honestly, I think we just get lost in a sea of caca.
Okay.
And
I
so
think
that's
the
why, and that's why I don't. But since our voting show, especially with Mutaki
yeah,
Akbar,
that was a good show.
it kind of enlightened me a little bit, and I'm a little more. I will research a little more now instead of just like, okay, I'm voting Democrat and that's it.
Right.
You know, whatever.
Right.
Or I know I gotta go vote. I might not have voted in the midterms because I'm just like, okay, I just need to vote for the president.
Right.
But because we've been enlightened, I think that's one of the places where we miss is the education piece. But because I've been educated, now I know every time a vote comes up, I need to be educated and I need to vote.
Right. It's imperative. It's imperative. Our future, our present depends on it. And so, but like you're not the only person that gets, kind of bewildered or down when it comes to voting. It's a lot that comes with it, especially during this time of the year. You're going to be inundated with a whole bunch of presidential ads. Well, maybe actually when we get closer to the primaries and then the general, next year you'll get a lot of those advertisements and they're negative. In recent years we're seeing all the attacks on each other. You already see it in the debates, but they really get on each other, and so it can be a little exhausting. And then coupled with your local elections, you got to do your research.
That's right.
And so, but it's important that we get out there and we do that research and that we do participate in that process.
That was my answer to your why is why not.
Right.
Because if we don't participate,
True.
if we don't get the knowledge and
Right.
the information that's needed, if we don't do the research, then it's going to affect us down in the long run. So bar the, political cockfight, we still have to look
Right.
out for ourselves and our best interests in our own communities. So the why not to me really pushes the why. That's why we need to vote. That's why we need to stay active.
We do
And-
have,
and
we
continue to talk
definitely
about
do
it.
have to stay active, and
Right.
which is why I think it's something that we should always talk about. I want us to be able to spark those conversations
Right.
outside of, kitchen talk.
Right.
Somebody watching and be like, oh, I didn't think about it that way.
Right.
So let me talk to my, 18-year-old.
Right.
And say, okay, hey, you need to get in there and start voting. When I turned 18, I knew my parents voted, but it wasn't like, Lisa, you need to go get registered. I got registered at a Najee concert only because we were sitting there and they was like, y'all registered?
Wow.
It was like,
Yeah.
let's go ahead and do it. Okay.
See, my father, we had a family approach. Literally took me
Right.
in to get registered, and this is why you should vote. And this is
Right.
who is running. When they send you the sample ballot, we literally
Right.
sat down and talked about the different people.
Wow.
We watched the debates
Wow.
together and had debates
Wow.
about the
Same here.
debates.
Same here.
So I think that type of engagement from a young age helped me understand the why not
Yeah.
and the real purpose
Yeah.
behind this.
And so now it's our turn
Right.
to do that push.
Exactly.
It's our turn to do the education.
That
It's
and
our
a little
turn
bit
to-
more.
Yeah. Well,
Because,
yeah.
it's
Yeah.
just, I think the other issue you have, and you stated it, is who we voting for. You might not be happy with the people that's on
Right.
the list. It's because we're not on the list. So we need to be also not just talking about voting, but somebody who is
On the
looking at us or need to be on the
Need to be
list.
on the
Who's looking out for
I think
us.
a lot of fear, which we should not be fearful anymore now that 45 is in office, is people feel like
That's what
they're
I
not eligible. They feel like they're not qualified.
Right.
But the truth of the
How
matter
can you
is,
feel that way?
hey,
He
if
became
he
president.
can become president, anybody can be president.
I
right?
disagree
So,
with that.
um,
Wow.
I don't.
Okay, we gotta pick that up in
Come
a
on,
second.
but-
That you sparked something right there. Okay, we gotta pick that up. Let's go to commercial.
FAMU Essential Theater will present King Hedley II on October 16th through the 20th. Our tickets go on sale at www.famuessentialtheater.com on October 12th. Hope to see you there.
Kitchen talk, conversations that cook. Kitchen talk.
So Jamie, I am so glad you're here because
You got some help.
I got some help.
I'm ready.
I got some help.
We
So
stay
Jamie said anybody can run. Now I agree. If we got 45, anybody can run.
I
But
think
agree,
JT over here sipping his tea said the same thing too, and he agrees with you guys. But I firmly disagree because of the state that we are in. Some people will say, "Oh, we're just making it." Some people will say, "Well, we don't know yet because it's gonna get worse," and that's because we elected anybody, and because anybody got in that space, nobody's winning. Nobody's gonna get the chance to see this country grow the way it was growing with Barack Obama. And a lot of the benefits that we're seeing from the Barack Obama's term, we're seeing it now. We're feeling it now. But once that Trump era rolls in, we're gonna feel that too. And it's because we voted anybody. See, Pookie can't just come up and run for president.
I think
You know what I mean?
Pookie for president 2020.
Nah, you need somebody. You need somebody. Again, another thing that we have to do is vote for the person who qualifies. We do it for every other job. We do it. If
Do
you
we?
run for
But
president,
that's
Do we?
subjective.
Well,
That's
I'ma
very
tell you
subjective.
why.
And I'll say this. I love President Obama. I think he was the epitome of excellence.
right?
But he is a standard. He set the bar very high.
Right.
But you don't need to be an Obama to be in leadership. And I think that when we continue to keep, especially when we hold ourselves to that level, then you won't get qualified people to run. You won't feel like, because we're our hardest critics. So you're not going to get people that can actually, they have good ideas,
Yeah.
they can effectuate change,
Right.
they know a little bit about the economy, maybe not so much about foreign policy or affairs, but they know enough that they can probably direct and guide a population.
Oh, that's what I'm looking at.
But but we're holding them to the Obama standard.
No.
And see,
It's hard to do
It's
that.
a hard
very
standard,
hard.
and so you really want to.
But I don't want us to not go beyond that standard, because that is the American way. The American way is to do better or to do greater. And if that's the bar, then we should
we
go
should be
beyond
on the bar.
it.
I agree with that too. But
I mean,
I
there's no
guess-
reason why that person can't come from, you know, a school and all.
I guess what I'm saying is
We can't have
if there's
Pookie.
a
That's
spectrum,
what I'm trying to
Obama's
say.
here, Trump is there. There's still all that room
Oh, there is.
for
There is.
great leadership
Right.
to come through, and I think that when we place the Obama-esque, type of characteristic
Right.
as a beacon for qualification or a threshold for qualification, you may lose someone that is qualified to be in leadership. And
There's
so,
a
there's actually a statistic, and I'll share it with you, but for every woman senator or governor that gets elected, 7 to 10 women run in their local government. And because they're inspired to do that.
Okay.
They see someone that looks like them, that maybe has the same goals as them to do that. And so we've seen an emergence of women in politics over the last couple of years because they have seen leaders that kind of almost look like them or they can relate to.
Right.
And so we need more of that. We don't have, Obamas in every state.
No,
we don't
well,
have Obamas in local
I'm
government.
not looking for the Obama cure-all. I'm looking
Okay.
for greater.
Okay.
Again, America's based on that one thing. That if I come here, I have a chance for a bigger opportunity, a better
Better
place
life.
to live, a better life.
Mhm.
If I take on the role as president, I'm not the only person involved. There's so many people around my
Right.
cabinet that's supposed to help, and that comes down with that leadership. If that person does not know how to dictate and how to talk, to communicate to people and hear what they have to say, then it's going to be a problem. That's why I said people who are like that, nobody can just run up, is because of that reason. Because if a nobody comes in and says, hey, male, female, black, white, don't matter to me. If you take that role and you're not ready for it, we're going to suffer. So nobody can take. I agree with you. Everybody's not going to be a Barack, but there's somebody who's coming up that's going to be better than him. And that's what I'm looking for.
Absolutely.
We cannot stick with mediocrity.
But we can't
And we have a
wait
country
until
now
they
that's full of
come in
mediocre
order to
people.
vote. We have to. We
Vote
can't
now.
wait until somebody better than
Right.
Obama to go and vote, and that's the
Oh,
problem.
yeah, I
got
agree.
to vote.
That's
we
why
don't
I
have
talk.
people
That's why
that
I
look
talk.
Y'all
like
is
us.
like heating it up in here. I
We
love
don't have
it.
people that look like us. When we don't have the Obama or that type of standard,
Right.
then we don't come out. And we see
We gotta
this
pay
in this
some bills.
time.
We gotta pay the bills,
Okay.
Jay.
That's what I'm
I love it. Get it, girl. I love it.
You are cordially invited to be a part of History in the Making. The Old West Florida Primitive Baptist Association will celebrate its 150th annual session on October 14th through the 20th. Evening worship will be held nightly Monday through Friday at 6:30 p.m. and daily services and activities Wednesday through Saturday. Taking place at the Old West Florida Enrichment Center located at 2344 Lake Bradford Road, Tallahassee. A sesquicentennial gala will take place on Saturday, October 12th at 6 o'clock p.m. at the Donald L. Tucker Civic Center. All are welcome.
Kitchen talk, conversations that cook.
So, Kitchen Talk, Jamie got this place rocking.
Hey, listen,
I love it.
I
I
love
love
it.
it.
You know.
I love it. So,
When we talk about leadership, I'm there.
and voting.
And voting.
So here is something I saw recently with Trevor Noah. He did a little stint or was talking about how sometimes we don't take the voting seriously, or we take it from a negative approach versus a positive approach. So we vote for this person because this is the lesser of the two evils, or we vote for this person only because we don't like that person.
Exactly.
Instead of really, and what I'm trying to do in my enlightenment of voting is what he was saying. Let's look at these candidates
Right.
and see who it is that we can vote for, not just vote against somebody.
Right.
And that's what he was saying. Don't just look at it as you're voting against somebody. Don't just look at it as who's gonna beat Trump. who's going to get Trump out of office. Let's look at this thing, and not even on the presidential level, but all of our levels. If we don't like our mayor, if we don't like what the mayor is doing, well, who's running against the mayor? Let's see what it looks like. Is this candidate viable so that we can vote for that candidate and not just that we're voting against someone else? Or the Senate, or I don't even know all the branches of them off the top of my head like that. I still gotta look, because I don't pay attention to it like that.
It's systemic, and that's why that main office is important. That main office, again, going back to my point, no, just anybody can't get it, because then it starts to trickle down all the way down to your school board members. Anybody got the job. Now the kids learning all type of stuff that they don't need to be learning. So it's important that you are right, and Trevor's right, that we elect people for the right purpose. Not just to get them out of the place, but I want you there because I know you're going to get the job done. And you understand the problems that we have. And you have some good ideas to get us through. Now, Pookie could come on in and put his name on there, but Pookie, you don't got no ideas.
Don't discount Pookie.
I mean,
I'm also talking about Brittany too, or you know, Tommy. Tommy, you can't run, Tommy.
Don't discount Tommy. We talk about the presidential elections, but you're right. Our local elections are equally important. Equally important. I think coming up in 2020. We've got the judges, a couple of judge seats are open.
And very important.
Very important. They're making decisions every day about life and death decisions every day in our community.
That's correct.
And so we need to be paying attention. A lot of people don't pay attention to the judicial races.
That's true.
They stay silent on that. And the candidates, it's hard for them to actually campaign too, because they sit and engage. But it's important to still stay, vigilant. It's important to stay educated about who these people are, what their backgrounds are. Social media is a nice little, window to someone's life. You can.
Yes and no, because I think you'll learn a lot. But I think with this new age, people understand the power of social media, so now they can paint a picture of who you want them to be.
They can.
And you thinking that this is that
whether
person.
it's real or not.
Yeah, so be smart about it and dig a little deeper.
You gotta dig deeper.
You gotta dig a
little
little
deeper.
deeper.
Look into these folks. Again.
But it does give you insight.
A little bit.
It does give you insight.
But in Tallahassee, we have such an amazing wealth of forums. Every time election season rolls around, we've got the Tallahassee Democrat doing editorial board reviews on candidates. We have the Democratic Party, the Republican Party, all doing candidate forums. A lot of these things are free, a lot of them aren't, but these are all opportunities to engage with the candidates. And 2020 will be no different. And so, we
got to get out and do it.
We got to do it. We've got county commissioners seats that are open.
But even in if we're talking about the highest of leadership, so the president's office, but aren't there some things that even that person can't do without those senators and without the House and without this? So while we do look at it as the big election, it's still those other elections and getting those people that undergird are just, if not more so, important than even a presidential election.
That's correct. Because they provide that foundation. There was something that you did, I want them to know, because you did a campaign, you were somebody's campaign manager.
So Sean Dadsman ran for state attorney a few years ago, and he won Leon County, but he lost overall, but yes.
You know why I brought that up is because you were a part of that process. And I think that's something else that we really don't think about is how do I support this person beyond just, I'm going to vote for you.
Oh, there's so
you know
many
what I mean?
ways.
Like,
so many ways.
What do we
That's
do?
good.
Because again, you taking on that campaign.
So what can we do?
I mean, if you find a candidate that you are willing to back and support, donating to them is a really great way to support them. Campaigns are not cheap at all. You see these people on the streets waving signs and these shirts. That all costs money. To get on TV, that costs money. Facebook ads, all of that costs money. These little, when you come out of church and you got all these little flyers on your car, and we like, so, $5, $10, $25, $250, all of that can help them. But also, you can go out and help them collect petitions. You know, especially for these circuit-wide races,
Yes.
they've got to get maybe 5,000 petitions.
Right.
That will save them money, a lot of money, because you either get on the ballot by a petition or you get on the ballot by paying.
Right.
And so if they can get
I
enough,
did not know
Yes.
that.
Yes.
if they can get enough petitions, then they get it on the ballot.
Right.
And that takes a lot of work. I mean, I got a great deal of respect for candidates because you get people, you walk up to them and say, hey, can you fill out a petition? And people will shut them down. No, I'm not going to vote for you, or I'm Republican, or I'm Democrat, or whatever. And it's, you know, they're constantly being told no.
The petition doesn't mean I'm voting for you.
No,
It
it
just
just
means that
means,
you get on the
hey, I'm
ballot.
gonna get
You
you
give
on
you
the
a
ballot.
chance.
Yes.
Give you a chance.
I want to hear what, yes, and that's all it
And
is.
that's
And
what
so
it is.
that's another way. So I
That's very
encourage you
interesting.
Just sign their petition.
Just sign their
Well,
petition.
no.
Okay, you got it. We're friends.
Pay bills.
Pay bills. I'm sorry.
I'm ready. This is
Kitchen talk,
So y'all good. We can go first.
yeah.
FAMU Essential Theater will present King Hedley II on October 16th through the 20th. Our tickets go on sale at www.famuessentialtheater.com on October 12th. Hope to see you there.
kitchen talk, conversations that cook. Kitchen talk.
So, voting is like so much.
It's complicated.
It's so much.
And that's why I said again, not everybody or anybody should be on that ticket. Going back to what I was about to say before the break. Number one, before I sign that paper to say, oh, I'm going to give you a chance, I need to know who you are.
Absolutely.
And that's the problem that we have. We just sign it away. Okay, sign it. And then this person gets on the ballot, but we get into the situation we had in the last main election, which is you have these people on there that you don't like any of them. So at least if I'm going to put somebody on, I want to know, okay, this is somebody that I've researched and I like, and you know what? Yeah, they definitely deserve that chance.
Now, you're talking to the intellectual voter, the one that's actually going to take the time. Not every voter is like that. And so I don't want people to be, you know, dissuaded from voting or filling out a petition because they don't necessarily know the person, or they haven't asked the questions to get to know the person.
Right.
You know, I don't want them to feel like it's a complicated process.
Well,
yes,
it's not.
it is work, but
It's not even a lot of work. Let me tell you what it
it's
is.
not.
Pick
But
up
if
your cell phone
if you're getting
and look up
petitions,
on there.
if you're at the point of getting petitions, then you may not be as out front as
No, by that
as
point,
if
the
you're running,
candidate,
right?
yeah, because some candidates will prefer to pay to be on the ballot.
right?
And
So you make a decision that you want to run for office. That don't mean you out in the forefront at that point.
not necessarily.
Some are. They'll get
Not
out and get the
necessarily.
word, which is again why I said that.
I agree with you. I think you definitely need to do your work and learn about who the candidates are.
Right.
But because if you don't do that, I don't want you to feel like you cannot participate in the process.
Oh, I agree.
Because it's
Yeah.
essential
Right.
to participate in the process.
Right.
I mean, if you even just ask who you're going to vote for,
Right.
that to me, I would much rather you do that
Right.
than not participate.
Oh, I've done
whatsoever.
that with you. I will call you and say,
Absolutely.
you know what, who you like,
Right.
because I need to know what you're thinking.
Right.
And you know what, because I trust you, I'm gonna research a little bit
And
more.
I think
say,
some
I'll
of
go
us
with
have
that.
done that.
Yeah, well, that's
Because
what
I think JT even talked about, you know, people that he trusts,
Right.
and he talks to them in the political arenas and stuff like that, or
Right.
you know, what are your thoughts on this and who are your thoughts on that?
Right.
So we do that. We even do that as a family.
Yes.
We didn't sit down like y'all, but my sister and I would be like, well, what have you heard, or you know, who do you know? And we talk to different people, and so yeah, we do it based on that. So
we communicate and talk with each other. Say,
Yeah.
okay, this is the best
Yeah,
person,
this
because
is
you
the-
know you may have some insights that I don't have.
right,
And I'll call you and say, okay, what do you think?
right.
And that doesn't mean that I'm going to go with what your choice is.
Right.
And that's the other thing that we do. Just because you said that's what you wanted,
It
who you wanted
depends.
to vote
Well,
for, I
it
can
depends on
change
the
it.
level of trust.
Yeah. But it
'Cause-
gives you a starting point.
But it does
Exactly.
give you a starting point. But how many people do you call and say, hey, are you did you check on the election or this, that, and other? How many people do you call and say, hey, Did you hear about, we vote in such and such a time. Have
Right.
you researched? We don't do that.
Right.
Well,
We don't do that.
certain organizations definitely do.
We call and we find out for our personal what we're going to vote on, but do we call people and say, hey, you planning on voting?
Right. The organizations
We'll
I'm
call
a
them
part
at
of,
a
we'll
party.
do that. We do that. And we do parties to get you informed about, the different things. Again, Alpha Phi Alpha is about voteless people is a hopeless people. So we want people to go and vote because that is one of our hopes, that we're going to have a better future, a better life. So again, that's why that was so hard for me to chew.
Right. I understand that. I understand where you're coming from with that. I just still think that because we're in such a critical climate in our history, right? In our present and in our history, you want to make sure that you're on the right side of this thing, and being out there, being engaged and voting is important. I would love for everyone to be an intelligent and engaged voter, but the fact of the matter is most people aren't. I mean,
And
you
that's
go
why
to
we
the
get
polls.
taken advantage of.
You're right.
That's why we get taken advantage
You're
of.
right.
And then that, again, going back to what I said,
But-
Bob, I'm sorry. You don't need to vote.
And like you said, the intelligent voting. You also have to think about the people that only come in contact with the folks that show up to their church and come.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, I'm so and so. Yeah, would you please vote for me? And you just got a bunch of old people sitting in the congregation. Oh, well, I might vote for him. I might not vote for him.
Right.
But I don't see anybody else that shows up. So
Right.
let's just go ahead and
I'm
do
not
that.
so mad at the people that come into the church.
Yeah.
I mean, I get they only show up that one time
Yeah.
during that one
Yeah.
particular season,
Yeah.
but they show up, and so not to
And
say
there's
that
some
they
who don't show up.
Yeah,
right,
they
and
don't.
Yeah.
not to say we're going to give them a whole bunch of brownie points for that, but I get why they do it. You know, what kind of makes me a little leery or reluctant sometimes is when people go to the ballot and there are people standing out there with a list of everyone they should vote for, and they take that list and they go into the ballot
And
Yes.
just check.
and they just start checking.
Right.
And the people that are on that list paid to be on that list.
Yes.
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 And so that I would rather not see
Yeah.
any of that more so than the people who only go to church
I
that one
like the
particular
church
season.
because, again, that's an engagement.
Yeah.
Even
Right.
if that's the first time, at least
Yeah.
I got to shake your hand and got to feel for who you
And
are.
I think the reason why we say it in that way is like, you really, if you just come in this one time, you don't really care about what I'm doing.
Yeah.
You got an ulterior motive.
Yes and no, I agree with you. I
you
see where you're
do,
coming from.
and you
Yeah.
do.
You
So,
do. I mean, they're coming there to get your
yeah,
vote.
so
Yeah,
it's-
that is
right,
what I'm here for.
right. So it's a two-edged sword
Right,
sometimes.
right.
At
So
the end of
here's
the day, we need engagement.
So here's what I say is we need the same way these folks in this line about this Popeyes
Hello.
chicken sandwich.
They need to go and register.
Go
They need to
and
go
register
register
to
to
vote,
Yes.
and then stand in that line
Right.
Yes.
for hours or however long it
Right.
takes to
Absolutely.
cash a vote.
Yes.
It's imperative. So y'all coming back next week?
Yes,
for
we-
I know
Kitchen
we'll
Talk.
be. I don't know about her.
Well,
but-
thank you.
Come back.
Yeah,
Come back.
I'm glad she
Come
came.
back.
I'm glad she came.
Come back. Come
Yeah.
back.
So Jamie, we will see you at some
Yes.
point. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you
hanging
so
out with us in the
much.
kitchen.
Guys.
Sorry, I got it. I'm sorry, I got needed.
Conversations that
Yeah.
cook.
Yeah.
Yes. See you next week.
Conversations that